All right, so this week, week 9, starting March 8th, we're going to be working on Microsoft Excel 1-1, and also I'm going to give you some information about the midterm exam that will be taken next week, week 10. For the homework, in addition to studying for the midterm, the homework assignment that you have due on March 14th at 11:59 p.m. is the Module 4D, troubleshooting and using different browsers. So make sure that's completed by March 14th at 11:59 p.m. Next week, for the class session, you'll work on your midterm, and you can also work on any makeup assignments that you need to complete. And then next week's homework is Excel 1-2, which will be due on March 21st by 11:59 p.m. All right. So as far as the midterm exam, again, it's going to be March 15th for this class session. I'll give you as much time as you need for the 3-hour class period. You'll be able to take it 3 times. You'll get what'll be counted is the highest score that you receive. On the exam itself, there will be 32 multiple choice and true and false questions and 3 short answer questions. So what I'm going to do now is kind of go over the questions that will be asked without giving you the answer. So one thing you need to know is that about when you delete a file to the recycle bin from the C drive, if you're able to use that file again, or is it gone forever if it goes to the recycle bin. Another question is the X that appears in the upper right corner of the window, is that used to minimize the screen or to close out of the screen? The next question goes over how to check the properties of any item. Do you left mouse click on the item or do you right mouse click? Next question. A folder may contain other folders. Can they or can they not contain other folders? Or if you just have a folder, there's nothing that can go into it besides other files and no folders. So you need to know whether or not that's true or not. The next one, folders are, you have to tell what folders are used for. Are they used to organize files or organize information, or are they just there just to take up space? The next question would be the character limit for Windows. Is it 260 characters, 185 characters, or 255 characters? Another question, the area that displays the program icons, shortcuts, taskbar, and other toolbars, is that called a desktop? You need to know whether or not using the Alt and another key, is that a command to do something that you want to do? Is that a shortcut key to do a command that you want? The Alt key and another key. Another question is you need to know what disk defragmenter does and what it's used for. The next question, one way to access the C drive. Can you get to it from my computer? Can you get to it from the desktop? Can you get to it from another computer program? You need to know that. Another question is what type of application is Microsoft Word? Is it a database application, software application? Next question, the items on the start menu. that show the right pointing arrow. What does that mean? Next question. The operating system is used to do what? Can you locate files? Can you move files? Can you copy files? Next question. To rename a file, how do you do it? Do you left mouse click? Do you right mouse click? How do you rename a file? Next question. You need to know whether or not Microsoft Windows is an operating system, a desktop system, or a database system. Next question. Microsoft Word is an example of what? Is it a spreadsheet, an Office application, an Office suite, or a system control program? Next question is another question about Microsoft Office, so you will need to know what Microsoft Office is used for. Is Microsoft Office a system software package, a productivity tool, an application suite? Next question, when a folder or a file is created, how is it assigned? Is it assigned an icon, an index, or a name? Next question, you need to know what Microsoft is. Is it an operating system, a gaming application, or a database application? Next question, you need to know what the internet is used for. Next question, when a file or folder is deleted, you need to be able to tell whether or not it goes to the recycle bin, if it's erased, if it moves to a delete queue, or is it moved to trash? Next question, how do you select all of the items in a folder by using a shortcut key? What is the shortcut key that you use for that? Next question, you need to be able to define what a file is. Next question, what are the two major software types? Is it a system analysis and data warehouse? Is it an operating and utility system? Is it an operating system and application? Is it database management and an application system? You need to be able to answer that. Next question. You need to be able to tell what icon you click on to minimize a screen. Next question, you need to be able to identify what an operating system is, or you need to be able to define operating system. Next question, you need to know how to copy consecutive items by using either the control key, the alt key, the shift key, or the enter key. Next question, you need to be able to define what a taskbar is. Next question, you need to be able to give another name for the computer screen that you're looking at. So is it a border? Is it a desktop? Is it a monitor? Or is it a printer? Next question, you need to be able to define what an icon is. Next question, you need to be able to define what a hyperlink is. Now we're going to move on to the short answer questions. There's 3 of those. One of the short answers is to explain the difference between moving a file and copying a file. Next short answer question, list the steps to create a new folder in Windows. And then the last question, list the steps to rename a file or folder in Windows. to get to the Microsoft Excel 1-1 project, you need to go into Blackboard. Let me go back. So you go into Blackboard, go to Modules, Module 4, Assignments, Practice Exercises, and this is where it's located. And we'll be using page 451. We'll be starting on page 451. Alright, so it says in this activity you will be completing a report for the Paradise Lakes Resort. Please use Paradise Lakes -01.xlsx to complete the assignment. So I'm going to download that file right now. And it generally puts it in the downloads folder. Alright. So now I need to look in my book on page 451 to get the instructions on how to complete this assignment. Okay, I'm going to enable editing. Alright, so before I even start with step 1 of this assignment, I just want to go over a few things as far as some naming conventions that's used in pretty much all Microsoft Office products. So the things here that I'm pointing at, the file, home, insert, page layout, formula, data, review, view, these are all known as tabs. Within the tabs you have groups. So clipboard is a group, font is a group, alignment is a group, number is a group, styles is a group, sales is a group, editing is a group. Within the groups themselves, you have different ribbons. So if I wanted to bold, use the bold font, bold a font, I would go to the home tab, font group, and I would select the bold ribbon. So just know that. And to get to the backstage that they call it, you click on the file tab, and that takes you to the backstage, which allows you to save, print, share documents, or close out of documents without closing out of Microsoft Excel. If I wanted to create a new file, I just click on new, and depending on if you have the template set up, if you have templates, you're able to access online templates. A bunch of templates will show up here, or you can just click blank workbook, which I usually do. Any questions? Alright, so starting with step 1, it says open a workbook. And by the way, this file itself is called a workbook. Within workbooks, there are different worksheets. So I'm on worksheet 1 right now, but the whole workbook is called copy of Paradise Lakes -01.xlsx. So it says open a workbook, click on file, open, and I've already done this by double clicking on it, but I will follow the instructions. So I'm going to open up Microsoft Excel, click blank workbook, I'm going to file, open, and I'm going to locate the file. Alright, so I have the file, I'm opening up the file like they told me. So that takes care of 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and I've already clicked on enable editing, so that's step 1 already done. Step 2 says save the workbook with a different name. So I can press the F12 key, or if you're using a MacBook, you would press Function plus the F12 key, but I'm using a Windows. Hit F12. 2B says select the location to save the file. So I'm going to go to Documents, and I'm going to save it in my INFT folder under Assignments. 2C says change the file name to your initials space PP space E1-1. So I'm going to put my initials in here, PP space E1-1, and then I'm going to click the save. Step 3 says enter the data. 3A says click on cell A1. Now cell A1 is, you have columns which are represented by letters and rows which are represented by numbers. The combination of a column and a row creates a cell. So it says go to cell A1, so I'm going to go to column A, row 1, so now I'm in cell A1. The way that I know that I'm in cell A1 is I see that the A is highlighted and the number 1 is highlighted. If I go to C1, you see that the C is highlighted and the 1 is highlighted. Another way to tell what cell you're in is by looking at the name box, which is right here where my mouse cursor is. You see it says name box. You see it says I'm in C1. But for step 3A, it tells me to go to cell A1. So again, you see the A is highlighted, 1 is highlighted, and even in the name box, it tells me I'm in cell A1. It says type Paradise Lakes Paradise, or Paradise Lakes Resort. So I'm typing Paradise Lakes Resort. 3B says press enter, which when I press enter, that takes me down to cell A2. 3C says click cell A10. So I'm going to go to the A column and I'm going to go down to the 10th row. So I'm in A10 right now. The way that I know is I'm looking at the A highlighted and the number 10 highlighted, and also I'm looking in the name box that says A10. So in cell A10, I need to type total, and then I need to press enter. 3D says type the values shown below in cells G5 to H9. So after you enter all of the values that are in step 3D, now's a good time to save your document. So I'm going to click the floppy drive up here. I can also do a Control S, and that'll allow me to save the document. So now we're going to move on to step 4, which says use the fill handle to complete a series. 4A says click B4. So I'm going to go to column B, row 4, and the fill handle, there's a small solid green square that's on the bottom right hand corner of each cell that you click on. That's the fill handle button. So it tells me to fill handle. What I'm doing is I'm holding down the left mouse key and I'm dragging it across from column B all the way to column H. And you see it automatically fills in the days of the week. So that takes care of steps 4A, 4B, 4C, and 4D. Step 5 says edit worksheet data. Click cell B10. So I'm going to go to column B, and I'm going to go down to row 10. So now I'm in B10. The way that I know I'm in B10 is I can see the B shaded, as well as the number 10 shaded. And in addition to that, I can look in the name box and it tells me I'm in B10. 5B says press delete to remove the contents. So I'm going to hit the delete key and that 5959 number is going to disappear. So you see it just disappeared. 5C says double click cell A4 to edit mode. So if I go to column A, cell, and what I need to do to get into edit mode, there's two different ways that you can do that. You can either double click and you see the cursor is blinking right now. That's one way to get into edit mode. Another way to get into edit mode is to go up to the formula bar, which is where my mouse is pointing at right now. And you see it says formula bar there, and just clicking in there. So that also allows you to get into the formula bar. But I'm going to follow the instructions and I'm going to go to A4 and I'm going to do a double left click. And you see I have that blinking cursor right there. That lets me know that I'm in cell A4. Alright, 5D says click to position the insertion point and delete the I in categories to create a deliberate spelling error. So I'm going to use my left arrow key on the keyboard. I'm going to go over to the I and then I'm going to press backspace. So I'm going to deliberately misspell the word categories. 5E says press enter to accept the edit. So I'm going to press enter and that's going to take me down to cell A5. And we see that we have an incorrect word. 5F says click cell A9 and type apparel with the error. You will receive errors in pause and practice 1-4. So we're deliberately misspelling words so that you can use the spell and error check. So at this time, instead of double clicking on A9, I'm just going to go up to the formula bar. I'm going to click in there and I'm going to get rid of one of the P's to misspell the word apparel. Alright. 5G says press enter to replace the entry, which I already did. Now's a good time. I'm going to save my document by doing a Control S. Step 6 says indent and align text. Select cells A5 to A9. So the way to get a range of cells is by typing the cells. So to type cells A5 or the range A5 to A9, I'm going to type A5 and then I'm going to use a colon and do A9. So this right here tells me that the range is between cells A5 to A9. So that's the range that this A5 to A9 is saying that I need to be in. So I just wanted to let you know how the range is shown in Microsoft Excel. This is going to be very important to know in future assignments for Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to delete that and I'm just going to go to cell A5 to A9. And I know that I have cells A5 to A9 selected because you see I'm on column A and I see rows or numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 highlighted. So that's a way to know. Plus, you see that this little green square around the cells that I have selected. That's how you know you're on cells A5 to A9. 6A says click the increase indent button, which is located on the home tab in the alignment group. And it's right here. The ribbon is right here. I have it over it. I'm just hovering over it right now. So you see it says increase indent and it tells you exactly what that does. So once I click it, so it said click it once. So you see it moved all of the words over a little bit. If I wanted to decrease the indent and put it back in its original place, I hit decrease indent, but it told me to click increase. So I'm going to leave it right there. 6C says select cells B4 to H4. So again, I'm going to select a range of numbers. So B4, I'm going to hold down my left mouse click all the way over till I get to H4. And again, if I wanted to type that, it would be B4 colon H4. So that tells me the range B4 all the way to H4. So I'm going to delete that so I don't cause any confusion. 6D says click the center button, which is located on the Home tab in the alignment group, and the ribbon is right here. So I'm going to press that once, and you're going to see all of the days of the week get centered into the cell, in the cells that they're in. So you see that just changed. They're all centered right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Control S to save. Step 7 says cut and paste data. Select cells B4 to B9. So B4, and I'm going to go all the way down to B9. And this is not usually the way that I use the cut feature in Microsoft Office, but it tells me for 7B to cut the button by going to the Home tab, going into the clipboard group, and selecting cut. And the ribbon for the cut is the scissors, or you can do a Control X, which is how I normally do a cut. But I'm going to cut it. So you see, once I hit that cut button, I have little dash marks moving around the cells B4 to B9. That lets me know that those cells are about to be cut and pasted somewhere. 7C says click cell I4. So I'm going to go over to I4. 7D says click the paste button, which is located in the Home tab, on the Home tab in the clipboard group. So this is, I usually don't use this way, but I'm going to use it this way because that's what the instruction says. So I'm on my Home tab already. I'm going to the clipboard group, and I'm going to click the paste button. I usually do Control V, as you can see the shortcut key right there, but I'm following instructions. So that moved B4 to B9 all the way to I4 to I9. 7E says select cells C4 and to I9. And if I wanted to write that range, I would type C4 colon I9. I'm going to select that. 7F says point to any border of the selected range to display a 4-pointed arrow with the white arrow. Alright, so that's right here. You can see the white arrow and you see my 4-pointed arrows. So if I go to the top left hand corner of the selection, you see it's there. It's anywhere that I point on this line. As long as I'm pointed, I have my mouse on the line, then it'll give me the 4 pointed arrows as well as the white arrow. 7G says drag the range to start in cell B4 and release the pointer button. So I'm going to hold down my left mouse key and I'm moving that whole column over to B4. So you see everything shifted over that was selected from C4, actually C4 to I9. So I didn't have everything selected. C4 all the way to I9. So now I'm going to move everything over. So that's how it should look. 7H says click cell A1. So now I'm back in A1. Moving on to step 8. Save and close the workbook. Figure 1-19 shows you how it should look. And I'm looking at what I have here and comparing it with what's down here in the book, and it looks like everything is correct, including the misspelling words, the misspelled words. So 8A says press Control S to save the workbook with the same file name. So I'm going to do Control S. That saves. Click the close button in the upper right hand corner to exit Excel. And that takes care of the pause and practice Excel 1-1 assignment.